Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing Doomsong, may the Lord have mercy upon us, and we're joined by Morgan and Jack to run us through this RPG of Weirdness from Caesar Inc. So it's a pleasure to have you both with us.
And it's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Now, before we get kicked off, Jack, do you want to tell us briefly what Doomsong is for those at home?
So Doomsong is what we're calling a role-play macabre, a horror fantasy role-playing game set in a gruesome and horrible medieval world undergoing a horrible medieval biblical apocalypse. It is a game where you play as gravediggers, simple, honest working folk, simply trying to do a job. Their job is to put the dead in the ground. Unfortunately, part of the biblical apocalypse is that hell is full, the dead are returning, and digging those graves has a lot more busy work between finding the corpse and putting it into the ground. So essentially, you are it's very low fantasy, but high concept. So there's a lot of dealing with the traitor gods, the elder beings that control so much about the world, whilst also your tools available to you are a spade and your wits. So very lethal, very low fantasy, and very horror-filled.
Excellent stuff. Now, Morgan is going to be playing alongside Ben and myself as part of our little Gravediggers Guild group. And we'll be telling you about the characters we've rolled up in a moment. But Ben has yet to go through character creation, and it's a core concept or core component of Doomsong. So I'll pass this over to Jack, and he can inflict the world upon Ben.
Indeed. And you'll learn a lot about the general vibe of the world simply from character creation.
Yeah.
So, you have your character sheet or piece of paper.
Yes.
Before we begin, a character is essentially a bundle of traits. Can be thought of traits and abilities. So traits are descriptive words about your character that essentially help you with checks. So, for example, if you had the burly trait, then that is going to help you with checks to do with lifting logs or swinging heavy things, and is maybe not going to help you so much with keeping your balance or deftly working your way across a tightrope. Mm-hmm. So essentially, traits are all very open to interpretation, and whenever you're thinking, will this trait help with this check, we have a little conversation about it and decide one way or the other whether it's going to be helpful, unimportant, or even hinder the check. Mm-hmm. So throughout character creation, you'll be collecting a few of these traits, which will tell you a bit about your character and how they run. Along the way, you might also pick up some abilities, some heresy, some cult stuff. Who knows? I think the best way to find out is to dive in.
Oh, yes.
So we begin with your origin.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome, stranger. The Gravediggers Guild takes anyone seeking sanctuary within its walls. We have highborn and low, the scum of the earth, and those who would turn their backs on the clawing existence of daily life. Whatever has brought you here will not surprise us. Well, let's have at it. Where does your story begin? Oh. So whenever I ask you a question like that, if you roll me a d6.
Yeah, I've got a suitably skull-based one as well. That seems right. So
excellent. Yeah.
Let's see what I get. I got a 3.
3. You're a gutter snipe.
Ooh.
You are just another drop in the effluent flow that is the slums of Asatum. Only the quick, the clever, and the brutal survive there, and even they need luck. Choose your birth name and record it on your character sheet. So this is the name you were born with, and essentially you might go by a different name by the end of this character creation, but that is what you're born with, and you do not need to share it with any other players. Add Slumcast as a trait.
Yep.
Resolve the Slumcast path on page 18. So under traits, if you want to write Slumcast, and essentially that just encapsulates that you were born in the slums, and so it's going to help you out with anything that you think that would help out with, maybe talking to other impoverished folk, but maybe it's going to hinder you if you're trying to impress a noble or something like that.
Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm.
Slumcast. They say the streets of Asartem are paved in gold. Having slept on those streets, you know that is a lie. Your existence was desperate and clawing. Folk expect you to be untrustworthy and cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, what was the defining moment of your childhood?
Let's see how it went. A 2.
A skillful display. Your earliest memories were of begging from strangers. Then you realized that a well-timed grovel and a performance that catered to their never-ending thirst for entertainment was more profitable. You may become a performer by turning to the path on page 24 or gain the proud trait. So what this means is you can either become a performer and do the performer path, or you can gain the proud trait and choose from one of the sort of standard paths for being Slumcast, which in the demo is a sort of shorter list.
Mm-hmm.
And you could become a cut purse or a foot soldier.
I think I'm going to take the proud trait, I think.
Excellent. So you take the proud trait, and then you can choose to be a cut purse or a foot soldier.
Ooh, I think my skillful display was perhaps in arms, so I'm going to go with foot soldier, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's see how that turns out for you.
Always badly.
Service in the Ecclesiarch's army involved long marches, bad meals, and terrible violence. You may choose to gain either the melee fighter or the marksman trait.
Ooh.
So one obviously helps with fighting in close. One helps you with fighting from afar.
I'm going to do marksman, I think. Let's do that.
Excellent. And tell us, what did you learn from the battlefield?
So I need to do a roll for this one as well. So let's go for... Oh, and it's a 5.
5.
Great.
You learned about looting.
Yes.
The pay was poor, but regular looting offered an escape. You may become a merchant or gain the reckless trait.
I think I'm with proud. I think I've got to be reckless as well. I'm going to go reckless. Yeah.
So if you gain reckless, and then you can choose whether to stay in the army and become an old hand, or to leave the army and become a young gravedigger.
I'm enjoying delving into the path system, so I'm going to go old hand, I think. So.
Excellent. Fighting and killing made you hard, but growing old can change a person. So you get the same choice again of melee fighter or marksman. If you choose the same thing again, then you underline it and it becomes a defining trait. So that basically means that when it's perfect for a test, you get an extra +1. So,
I think I'm going to become a perfect marksman. Yeah. Let's do that.
Amazing shot. Excellent. And tell us, why did you leave the army?
I got a 1. Oh, no.
It was only a matter of time before you fell during an enemy onslaught. So bookmark this path and gain an injury. So if you can roll me... your life was interrupted by a flash of blinding pain. For some, these moments are a terrifying reminder of their own mortality. For others, a reminder they are alive. Where were you harmed? Roll me a d6.
I was harmed in the 3. So,
in the 3. Yeah. Which actually is a bit of a typo here. But you are harmed in the arm.
Oh, no, that's my shooting arm.
2 to 3. The injury affected one of your arms. Decide which one, unless you only have one left. And roll me a d6.
I'm going to say it was my left arm.
Your left arm?
And it was 5 scarred.
Scarred. You made a full recovery. You gained scarred arm as a trait.
Mm-hmm.
So something to note here is there are things called traits and there are things called conditions. Traits are essentially permanent things about your character, and conditions are more transitory things. So in-game, if you got attacked and hurt with an injury, that would most likely be a condition. Because this has happened a long time in your path and is past and is fully healed, basically only the permanence of it remains. So that is why it is a trait rather than a condition.
Cool.
And the only path left to you was to become a gravedigger.
Yes.
Leaving the army and possibly falling on hard times. The only people that would take you in need of your lifetime of violence was the Gravediggers Guild. You stood at the threshold of the Gravediggers Guild, throwing the rest of your life away to the vagaries of fate. Whether you felt relief or dread when they accepted you, we do not know. So you may look at the traits you have, reflect upon the life you have lived, and choose one of them to be your defining trait. So in addition to marksman.
Oh, so some cast proud, reckless. I think proud. I'm going to go with proud as my other defining trait. Let's go with that.
So, after narrowly missing being a one-armed marksman.
I fire with my feet.
Now, choose whether they taught you to fight or filled you with knowledge.
I think after a lifetime of fighting, I went down the route of knowledge to see if I could understand a little bit more about my life.
See if this old dog learned some new tricks.
Exactly, yes. So
if you can roll me 2d6 and tell me what you get on each die.
Okay, so the first one is a 2.
Okay.
And the second one is a 6.
Okay. They either taught you a bit of medicine or a bit of tracking. So if you choose medicine, you will gain the bone setting ability. And you will also get some gear, a bone saw and a needle and thread. And if you choose tracking, you will gain the discovery ability and gain a spyglass and a flint and tinder to your gear.
I think the guild realized that I was an incredibly reckless soul and decided that maybe it was the best idea to give me medical training so that if the worst happened again, I could try and help myself out and others, of course.
So, under abilities, which are separate from traits, do you want to write down bone setting? And then under your gear, add bone saw and needle and thread.
Great stuff.
Next up is your chosen name. Many years ago, your parents gave you a name. It is likely you go by something else. Likely now you go by something else. Choose a name for your character and write it under name on your character sheet.
Ooh, okay, I'm going to choose the name Bellows.
Bellows. Love it. Good old lungs. Is that you've got the drill sergeant vibe?
Yes, yeah. There's also the thing of, everyone's like, oh, he's an archer. Maybe he sneaks around in the forest and shoots things from afar. No, he just announces that he's there and then shoots you. So you've got a chance to run away. So.
If I knew how to count, I would give you to the count of 3.
Next up, right under your defense and toughness, 4 in each. This is sort of the standard starting defense and toughness. And finally, gain your items of office. So you gain a badge marking you as a member of the Gravediggers Guild and a long-handled serviceable spade. Those graves aren't going to dig themselves.
I can't use my hand. I've maimed this arm.
Got this cool scar.
Yes.
Your days will soon be filled with travel and toil, digging graves to the dead and ensuring the dead go to their graves. You aid in small ways those who fall on the peripheries of the ecclesiarch's notice. You won't be forced to bear this life alone, however. Gravediggers work in teams. It is time you met yours. Whatever you think of your allies, you understand there is a good chance that the rest of your life will be spent in their company. So this is where you stop. And if there's another player who needs to make a character, they get to this point as well. And you continue until everyone's got a character sort of at this point. Which we did a bit off screen, so we do have everyone's characters, and I think now would be a good time for Jerry and Morgan, and then you, Ben, to basically tell us a little bit about your characters and your vibe. So let's start with Jerry.
Well, shockingly for the people at home, my journey has been very similar to Bellows. The only difference is I came from a fairly well-to-do family.
Oh.
However, being the third son, everybody above me already primed for the family business, I decided to become a foot soldier and stayed there for a good long time with varying degrees of success. So much so that I even received a medal for my bravery. You can see it here. I keep it beside my guild medal. They're pinned pride of place on my chest every time I leave the guild to do anything. After being honorably discharged, shall we say, not drummed out. I made my way to the Keeper or the Gravediggers Guild, and spend my time doing what needs to be done. When I'm not, I'm often caught in the corner, scribbling away with ink and quill in my diary that I've kept since I was a young lad.
Okay. And what's your character's name, Joey?
Screever.
And Morgan?
I lived a very different life from you guys. I was born in one of the border kingdoms. I was border born, scrabbling out an existence. And I actually heard the whispers of the uncanny. And I think that since joining the guild, I have confided to you, my fellow gravediggers, that I have witchly powers. But I was cast out for them and became an exile. So I have lived for many, many years out in the Weald, which is beyond the border kingdoms. It's a very difficult existence full of terrifying creatures that go bump in the night. But I managed to survive minus one arm. I'm missing an arm.
Please tell me that was by random.
Yes, it was. I got injured. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's your story to share.
I was playing roller derby last night and got injured and had to go to A&E for a dislocated shoulder. And then rolled up my character this morning, and my character's missing an arm.
Art imitated life.
So yeah, the injury I received out in the Weald was of a kind that I needed to return to Asartum for care. At which point I joined the guild. They forgive past heresies, so my witchness is forgiven as long as I don't do it again.
Bit naughty. So that begs the question. So for viewers at home, essentially, witches in this world gain their powers from one of the traitor gods. In the very beginning, the immortal created the universe, created the world, and in their great wisdom, created other gods. Those gods immediately murdered them and buried them in a shallow grave. So the church of this setting, the main sort of monotheistic church, believes in the dead god, the immortal, and believes that those that worship the traitor gods, that their murderers, need to be basically punished and burned at various stakes. The sort of flip side of that is those traitor gods are actually alive and do still have power, whereas the dead god doesn't. So basically all witches and miracles are in some way connected to one of the traitor gods, which begs the question, what is your name, Morgan? And
my character's name is Scratcher.
Scratcher.
Scratch your eyes out.
You got Screever, Scratcher, and Bellows.
It's quite a formidable sounding group.
Yeah,
the SBS.
And what is your god?
So I flipped my version of the Doom coin and received Sublime, I think. So I then rolled a d6 on the Sublime table, and I got Panic.
Panic. Oh.
So I have received powers from the god Panic.
And do you have a little cute familiar?
I do. So this is something I try to keep hidden from the world, because albino and Milano animals are kind of like, oh, that's probably a witch's familiar. I have an albino squirrel as my familiar. He is also called Scratcher.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Scratcher twins.
I think I will leave the rest of my my questions. I will let you the rest of your secrets about what your witchcraft might entail. But, and then finally, Bellows. We've heard a bit of your story. But, spent some time in the army. Got out.
Yeah.
With less glory than Scriver.
Yeah, I like to think that Bellows spent much of his time on the front lines, battling away, organizing fateful charges for the rest of his bowman companions. You know, they're not armed. They're not armed for close combat, but he was always like, "We've got them, lads."
They won't be expecting a charge from the
exactly. Yes, and his pride led him to sort of, at least in his mind, see that everybody looked up to him. He was the best of the best. He was the sergeant that everybody loved. Everybody drank with him, but in actual fact, they were drinking to forget him. And and so he spent most of his life pretending that he is probably the best in the business, but unfortunately, he's probably...
Got a feeling this scar he's got in his arm, it's definitely in the back, right?
Yes. Yeah. He also has the entire of that arm completely uncovered at all times, so that you can always see this wound that he suffered.
Cool. Yeah.
So you can be like, look, I got this in the Battle of whatever, kind of thing. So yeah,
this is the only medal I need.
Exactly.
If you were a better soldier, they'd have given you a real one.
It's very true, but don't let him know that.
Okay, so we know a little bit about our characters, and we're creating a new party. So I'm going to start with Bellows. If you can roll me a d6, and this will basically determine how you know one of the other members of the party.
One rival.
One. Yeah. So if you want to choose another player to share a friendly rivalry with,
I think it would only make sense for Screever to be my rival. This old dog from the ranks, thinking that he's better than me with his piece of shrapnel strapped onto his vest. You know, I'm definitely better. So yeah,
just less recognised.
Yes.
I love that. So under goals, if you want to put in to prove I am better than Screever. Scriver. Is it Scriver?
Screeve.
Screever.
Screever, Scratcher, and Bellows.
Screever, Scratcher, and Bellows. I absolutely love those names.
I think whatever happens, these party names are going to end up in a story somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
So, Screever, do you want to give me a roll? And this, because it's a 3-person party, this will be how you feel about Scratcher.
Okay.
Scratcher the human, not Scratcher the squirrel.
Or both.
Big 6.
6, family. So choose another PC to be your family, whether by blood or not. So since they grew up very far away from you, you'd be either very estranged twins or simply have a sort of familial connection. Found family, if you will. And add sacrifice my own opportunity for Scratcher's happiness to your goals.
Okay.
And then finally, Scratcher, if you can give us a roll.
Got a 2.
A 2. You're indebted to Bellows.
Oh.
Bellows saved your life somehow. It is up to you how.
Okay.
And you feel like you must repay this debt. Can you add secure... sorry, no, that's the next one. Add save Bellows' life under goals. So these goals, essentially the way they work, in the demo and in a one-shot, they mostly just add a bit of flavor and something to think about as you're making decisions. Mm-hmm. In a longer campaign, those are one of the sources of experience, essentially. So if you make a step towards a goal at the end of a session, you gain an XP. If you complete a goal, you gain XP. And basically that's a time where you would go, oh, I've moved beyond this. So these sort of starting goals are something for you to just latch onto and go, okay, that's something that my character might think about and grow beyond. Mm-hmm. On top of those goals, we have the more, I almost missed the most important step. So we have the abilities that your characters have. Bellows, you had the Bone Setter ability, didn't you?
I did, yes. Yeah.
So essentially, that means that when you try and treat people for their wounds, after you perform surgery on a patient, you may choose an injury that is on the mend, and immediately heal it. So usually the way healing works is if you succeed on a check to heal someone, you take an injury and it is on the mend, or you take an injury that is on the mend and heal it. Whereas you can basically skip that intermediate step. And do Screever and Scratcher have any sort of abilities that they're unsure of, or have you looked those up already?
I have study. I'm fairly certain I know what the studying is.
I think with study, I will say, since this is a one-shot as well, that you can have picked up a book from the guild library for your ability.
He's being kind. I think we should be nervous.
I'm already writing it in before he takes it away from us.
The guild welcomes you with open arms. Many pass through these doors looking for an honest trade. As long as you work hard, the opportunities are endless. There is one last thing you must do before we can call you family. And truly, it is just a small matter of formality. You see, we need your signature on this contract. So on the back of your character sheet, you'll find a contract of employment. If your character is literate, which I believe is only Screever.
Me, yep.
So you may read it.
Good.
But everyone must sign it.
Of course, yes.
I've scratched an X in the indicated location.
Excellent. You have officially joined the Gravediggers Guild. Now, get out of my sight. The dead aren't going to bury themselves. And we are ready to begin. So, I'm going to throw you a little bit into the middle of a story, one of the sort of scenes from Lord Have Mercy Upon Us. You have been tasked by the Gravediggers Guild within the Plaguescape with a very important mission. So the Plaguescape, or as it is more officially known, the Lost Kingdom of Leith, is a realm of decay and plague, most notably controlled by the Father Plague. He rules this land with iron is maybe too strong a word, but a squirming, greasy fist. And everything he touches becomes ill and withered and dying. The land itself looks as if it was if it was a human, it would be in a feverish coma. So you have spent some time in this Plaguescape, in this far-reaching guild hall. There are many guild halls across the world of Paynim. This one is probably the least fun to be at, as you have sort of been trapped within this realm for some time and have been sent on a few sort of missions here and there to either go out and bury the unquiet dead or to deal with some more sort of less direct forms of combating immortality. So one of the things that the Gravediggers are very much against is those who cheat death. Chief among them, the traitor gods themselves. But secondary to the traitor gods, or in this case, Father Plague, there is his consort, the Lice Mother. She is a being of great power and great callousness and evil. Her immortality, it is thought, comes from the power of 7 totems. These totems, it is thought, if they are cleansed, will end her life and greatly weaken Father Plague, or at least weaken his hold on the Plaguescape. So it is thought that that might lead to the release of this realm to a more normal state of being, the many monsters and creatures within it being weakened or even downright destroyed if their power is directly sort of coming from his own. In this vein, you have been tasked with the destruction of one of the Lice Mother's totems. I think as the holder of a medal and definitely the most competent warrior in the group, Screever has been given this totem. You have been sort of not directly ordered not to look inside the bag. Mm-hmm. So it is a small leather bag, small leather pouch, probably about a few inches by a few inches. And inside you can sort of hear the clacking of beads. So something sort of like a dice bag, to use an analogy that you're probably very familiar with.
Not bones, certainly not bones, definitely not knuckle bones.
Whilst you've not been directly told not to look inside, it has been suggested that it is not helpful to your mission. Your mission is to make your way to an ancient bell tower where the bells never stop ringing. To find one of these bells and smash the totem upon it. And it is thought that once this totem is smashed upon a bell, very specifically, that this will cleanse it and break one of the Lice Mother's links to power within this world. Knowing better than to ask many more questions, you have set about on your mission. We have the map, which I believe Jerry showed a second ago. And you have started at the guild hall up in the sort of, choose a color slightly more. So up in the top right here. Mm-hmm. And you have taken the path down, going on many, many wondrous adventures along your way, tricking genies and fighting off bandits and all of those sort of wonderful things. Until you find in the distance, you approach the lonely bell tower. It is something that you hear before you see. The faint chime of church bells, dinging, donging in the distance. And for a moment, it's almost, charming. It's church bells. But as you get closer, it never, ever stops. This constant ringing that grates on your ears and threatens to just worm its way into your mind. This constant noise that with every step, is just getting a little bit louder and a little bit louder. You do get closer, however, your resolve is at least that strong, and see this bell tower in the distance. You presume the source of the noise. The sort of the terrain heading towards the bell tower is mostly sort of empty and scraggly. There is, to call it a path would be an insult to paths, but it is more of a wish path. So a few sheep have traveled this way, and the indentation they've made in the ground, you could generously call a path heading towards the bell tower. On your right, there is a sort of scraggly wood that sort of leads up towards the bell tower, sort of around and to the right, or there is the path heading sort of straight towards it. Both ways sort of get towards that bell tower, but that is the situation you find yourselves in. I assume you are sort of just breaking up camp. Is early in the morning, and you are all rip-roaring and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. That's what I like to hear, even if it's not true. I take it then the bells continued overnight?
Yes. Although, actually, saying that, during the night, I think, I'm going to say bellows, you wake in a start, as if sort of a loud noise had awoken you, but that's silly, since there is no noise. And you sort of look around a bit confused, not sure sort of why you awoke in the night. And after about 5 minutes, you hear the bells start again. And you realize in that moment what had actually woken you was this noise had become so constant and so background and sort of white noisy that it's stopping awoke you in the night.
Interesting.
But apart from that 5-minute interval, there has been no silence of the bells.
Okay.
Are you going to tell us about this when we wake?
Yes. The first thing that Bellows does as he gets up is he takes the little tiny sort of strips of cloth that he'd had stuffed in his ears and looks over towards Screever to see if he had anything in his ears. Sees that he doesn't and immediately hides them in his pockets. And it's like, yeah. And gets up and just says, "Them bells, they say they peal all the time, but I awoke last night and they weren't going. Completely dead. Maybe something's up in that tower. Maybe we can make use of it, perhaps." I'm
gonna sort of sit up, like maybe straight up out of my sleeping roll. Sort of, I guess, yeah, we've had breakfast.
Still in
and and sort of after packing away breakfast and stuff, say, do we know anything about the bell tower? Have we? They tell us something might be up there, or what's actually ringing the bells?
So I think this would be a really good time to go through how checks work. So the way a check works in Doomsong is on your character sheet, there's a handy little reminder. But essentially, there's a few steps. It starts with me choosing a difficulty. And the standard difficulty for a check is 5, unless there is anything particularly making it sort of super easy or super difficult. In this case, 5 seems good to me. Then in a check like this, the person sort of making the check, which if Scratcher was planning on doing it, then we can go through Scratcher. And you
what kind of check would you say this is? Is this like memory or?
So yeah, I'd say it's remembering about it, or if you've heard any stories, or basically if you want to go at it from a different angle, then feel free to sort of suggest sort of a different way you might gather this information. This is going to be sort of a retconned what you might have gathered in the past. So if you have read books or anything like that, then obviously that would help you out here.
I guess sort of as we've traveled to the bell tower, I've been asking at the various places where we've stopped, just like, have you heard anything about the bell tower? And I guess this check will determine whether or not anyone knew anything.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. So the first thing you do is pick one of your traits that you think would be most helpful in this check.
The only trait I think might be helpful possibly is Borderborn. So potentially if the inhabitants of the Plaguescape are quite similar to, the scratching existence of a Borderborn, possibly I was good at talking to them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of the sort of similarities in the superstitions and the the fear response of strangers and all of that you were able to sort of pierce a bit more than maybe a sort of a higher born person would be able to. So I think I'm going to say that trait is helpful, which means it gives a +1. If you had something like charming, I'd say that'd be perfect, and that would give you a +2. If you had charming and it was your defining trait, then that would give you +3. But in this case, that is a +1.
Scratcher isn't charming.
Do you have any gear that you think would help you in this check?
I do not.
So in this case, maybe something that you might have traded away to the locals for information or something like that would be that sort of thing, I think.
No, I think I'm kind of hoarding supplies at this point. I'm not really trading for information.
So do you have any allies that would be helpful for this test?
Were you guys also listening for information and trying to find out about where we're going?
Oh, yeah.
I think Bellows was in a drinking contest when he last was in a pub. So
that's practically the same thing for you, Bellows, isn't it?
So I can definitely give you, I can give you +1 for each ally. So that's another +2. So I think that brings us up to 3. Do you have any hindering traits that basically are going to hurt your chances?
Don't think so.
Perfect. And finally, you won't have any conditions because you're a brand new character. But if you, say, had taken an injury or something that might harm your work here, then that would be the time when condition would hinder you. So you take your bonus, you've got +3, and we next decide whether this is a focused, hasty, or standard check. Usually these steps are much more, we just go through them very quickly, but I'm just sort of going through them step by step since it is the first one. So a focus check is one that you've got sort of ample time. You could have stopped, you could have sort of retried, you could have asked several people rather than sort of focusing on one. And I think this is a perfect time for a focus check. A hasty check is if you don't really have adequate time for the test you're doing, and a standard check is sort of standard thing. So with a focus check, you'll be rolling 2d6 and taking the highest. So if you want to roll me 2d6.
As well, I think we're like really, really chewing it over breakfast and sharing what we found, and like just, oh, that one guy said this, or you know, we'll see what we get. So my highest is a 2. I rolled a 2 and a 1.
Welcome to my world.
But with your +3, that does get you to a 5, which is equal.
Ooh.
So there are essentially 3 results before we get onto the Doom coin that are under, equal, and over. So under usually means you failed at the thing you were trying to do, and there's some cost associated with it. Equal is that you succeeded at the thing that you're trying to do, but there's some cost. And over is you succeeded without there being any significant cost. So you have rolled equal, which means currently you've succeeded at what you're trying to do, gather information about the bell tower, but there will be some cost associated with that, which I will decide if we stick with that result. But there is always the chance, there is always the choice to flip the Doom coin. So after any check, a player can flip the Doom coin, which is a head and tails coin that, if you flip tails, your result goes one worse on that chart. And if you flip a heads, it goes one better on that chart. If you'd rolled under and you flip a tails, then that gets you into critical fail territory, where I can just have some fun with how bad it is. Similarly, if you get a success and flip a heads, that gets us into critical success territory, where I can have some fun with how well you succeeded. So you may choose to flip the Doom coin.
I am not going to flip the Doom coin.
Stick with your success with cost. I think that's very wise.
I'm just eating breakfast.
There was a bone in that
this
soup.
early in the day.
So, as you've been talking with the locals, you'll have picked up a few sort of stories about the tower. They say that strange cultists live there with monstrous faces. It is said that they sneak out and prey on unsuspecting travelers. It is said that they steal children and steal them back to the bell tower to be eaten by their king. You also hear of a great beast that stalks the night sky, that picks up, again, unsuspecting children and flings them into the sky, never to be seen again. What else do you learn? You learn that those bells are literally constantly going, and that the sort of communities nearby think that the bells themselves are protective in some way, though the creatures in the bell tower are bad. The bells themselves are good and protect people. Or at least that is the thoughts of the locals. The cost associated with this is your travel takes some time, and sort of by the time you're talking to some of the later villagers and sort of outwalkers, they already know that you're coming and start sort of talking to you, and they're happy enough to give their information. But you are aware that news of your travels have definitely sort of overtaken you, and the sort of the surrounding area is aware of your presence. And I think actually as well, Bellows in one of his drinking contests did did go, yeah, we're on a very important mission.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
We've got to take something to the bell tower.
Yeah.
So perhaps if that was something you wanted kept secret, it is no longer secret. But that is the information that you've got and the cost associated with it.
Mm.
Oh, I think it's kind of a mission where maybe we shouldn't just burst in. Sounds like maybe it's occupied. That's what we've learned.
Or surprise is the exact way we should do it. Kick down the door, shoot everyone who stands, be the heroes. That's the way
Go
I
loud.
See it. Exactly, yeah.
Didn't you used to be a tracker once, Bellows? Don't you think we should at least take a look and see what's going on? You don't even know if there are any cultists, and if there are, how many there are. Before we go kicking open any door, I'd like to at least know there's not an army behind it.
Well, whatever we do, I should lead the way, not you. Oh, yeah, I've got all my limbs working, my eyes working, everything.
In this case, I agree wholeheartedly.
Right.
And I will take up the rear. I'll guard our rear.
Right. Let's stow our gear and get going then. I suppose you wouldn't take the forest, do you? Yeah. Not want to walk up the path. Well,
yeah, I think exposing ourselves to anybody who may be there would be lunacy of the highest caliber.
Right. He sort of wipes his nose, pulls up his breeches. Right, let's go then.
As you're getting ready and standing up, you hear a faint whistling sound, followed by the thunk of a spade falling out of the sky and landing blade first into the ground, probably a few feet away from Bellows.
I think Scratcher blinks and it. Do you see that? And she looks up.
Excellent. Can you give me a sort of making a reaction check? And I think actually I'm going to throw this one to Screecher. So reacting quickly.
Screever.
Yeah.
Screever, sorry.
That's all right.
We made your job hard for you by Harry.
Okay. Yeah.
So do you think you have any traits that will help you out with that?
For reacting quickly?
Reacting quickly.
No. I was going to say maybe
like
reckless, but no. No, I don't think I could even convince myself that recklessness would help in this instance. No, I'm an old man. I've done my time. My reactions dulled with age.
Okay. I doubt there's any gear, anything that negative. So this is going to be a standard check, 1d6, and you're looking for a 5.
And I'm not getting it. 4.
Okay, so as Scratcher looks up, Screever sort of looks to Scratcher rather than up as well. And you are hit with the full force of a body, a human sort of shaped sized body, crumpling down onto you and splattering down onto the floor in a sort of spraggled mess. If you could lose me 1 toughness, please.
Oh,
So marking down your toughness from 4 to 3.
Yep.
Oof.
Which will essentially mean that you're easier to sort of damage and wound if you are attacked in the future.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
The body is sprawled on the floor and appears to be wearing sort of a church robe with cowl and it seems very much not alive.
Screever, are you okay? And I'm gonna. So because I've had only one arm for quite a while, I think I've gotten quite adept at using my walking stick as a lever against my other shoulder. So I'm gonna try to lever this body off Screever.
I'm going to gasp for air because I'm assuming
As
the
body sort of lolls over, and sort of you can definitely see. Definitely in the neck, it's very loose. necks shouldn't be quite that loose. And yeah, several of its other sort of parts seem fairly up.
Did you say it was wearing like church robes?
Yeah, so it's wearing church robes, although you can see sort of across the scratch across its chest, you can see sort of more traveler's clothes underneath. Its face is a grotesque sort of form of, it's clearly been sort of in a lot of damage a long time ago that's healed. And then whatever's happened now, it has not healed. So it lies there in front of you, its face a rictus of pain and fear.
As soon as I successfully roll the body off of Screever, I'm looking up again. Because I saw the shovel fall, and then a body landed on Screever out of the sky.
So the sky is clear. It is a sort of a sickly grey, but apart from sort of it's mostly clear with a weak sun sort of rising just over the horizon. But directly above you, there is a singular cloud.
Okay. I'm going to go back to Screever then.
Bellows when he stops laughing. Just sort of like holding his chest. Yeah, that was good. Goes over to the spade to inspect the shovel to inspect the thing that dropped from the sky.
You will see that this spade is a direct is exactly the same as the one that you hold yourself. Not uncannily the same. It's just made by the same group, basically. It is a Gravedigger's spade. There is the Gravedigger's emblem sort of carved into the handle, and definitely the tool of a gravedigger.
Well, somebody had some bad luck. And he stows it through his belt or on his back. Now I've got two.
That's spade.
Yeah.
Wheezing on the ground. I'll go, yes, somebody had bad luck. It was me. Where the hell did he come from?
I'm going to sort of direct your attention up and say, well, he definitely fell from the sky, but there's nothing up there. And we're too far away from the bell tower for it to be there. Just fell out of the sky.
Maybe it's that monster that they were talking about in the tavern. Perhaps it's playing a joke on us.
Didn't they say it only came out at night?
Well, they think a lot of things about that tower, but I swear to God that
on the divine corpse.
Yeah, I swear to the divine corpse that I heard those bells stop ringing last night. So something's amiss.
Something's changed. Something's different.
Maybe it's because they knew we were coming.
Give the body a once-over. And look for any identifying features. As far as guild houses go, are there many in this area?
There is just the one, although it is a bustling place and sends sort of guild gravediggers across the entirety of the plaguescape.
But with a face like that, would we know it / him, whatever?
I think. Can you give me a how well you know people check?
So give you a how well I know people check.
Yeah,
but I will ask Bellows and Scratcher.
I think. Yeah,
I reckon we could aid in this. Yeah,
you can get a +1 for each of the allies.
Mm-hmm.
Here, that's a 5 on the dice, so +2, 7.
Yeah. So you do recognize this person, and indeed, that face is easy to recognize. This is Scragger, a member of the Gravediggers Guild, fairly well respected, knew how to get things done, not a particularly sort of combat type person, but knew their job, and you assume like they sort of have the same job as you. They're sent out to do missions and try and aid the Gravediggers Guild in any way that they can. With
So we've got Scratcher, Screever, Bellows, and Scragger.
Don't blame me.
At least 3 of them are still on their feet. Well, 2.5 right now. So clearly the guild sent another group before us, and they assumed that they were not going to be able to accomplish the task. That doesn't bode well for what we're going to find in there. Are you sure you still want to run straight down the road and kick open the main door there, Bellows?
I think my plan was always to go through the woods. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because we may not, touch wood, come back this way, I do feel that whatever form of last rites that the guild would assume for one of their own, we should do now. Bury poor Scragger before we plough on, because it's the very least we can do for one of our own.
I think we should dig a grave and bury him.
Yep, do our job.
Yeah, excellent.
If we accomplish nothing else today.
Definitely spend some time digging a grave for Scragger, saying a few important words for a man who will be forgotten by history, if not by you. And just to note, at the end of the session, basically, if you have dug a grave for one who deserved it, then you gain an XP. So good work, guys.
Yeah.
While we're doing this, are the bells just constantly going?
The bells are still going.
Okay.
You get a sense that they are faltering. They are sort of every so often sort of you can hear 3 distinct bells, and every so often sort of one of them will falter for some time and then start again. But sort of they are always, at least one of them is always going.
Yeah. Now he's been buried. Yeah.
How long does it take us to complete the grave?
And you're very good at your jobs. I think about an hour. So if you spend, we should actually properly look up how, because it comes up fair. I think if it's 6 foot deep and you're using hand shovels, it takes a while. But there are 3 of us and it's a game. So yeah. And you've got one arm.
Yeah.
You're giving a lot of emotional support.
Once he's been laid to rest, I reckon we pick our way through the forest. I think. Yeah.
I have the navigator trait.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's actually an argument for me going first through the woods path.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
See if we can pick out a hidden route that gets us close to the bell tower without getting lost. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I think Bellows would let Scratcher take the lead, but he's always giving helpful suggestions as we go to make it look like he's in charge. But
I nod sagely, like she's considering the words you're saying.
So can you give me a check with navigator is definitely perfect for this, and if you have any gear that you think would help out with navigation, then you can use that.
So navigator is perfect. It's not defining, so I get a +2 for that.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so +2. Do I get help from Bellows?
I'd say Bellows could help out, actually, perhaps, potentially, maybe, because he was like a keen marksman, perhaps, so he was good at navigating terrain for the best shots and stuff. So,
all right, I'll give a +1. Yeah. I'll say anyone who's sort of helping with this navigation is not going to be sort of super ready for looking out for danger, sort of thing.
That seems right up Bellows' street.
Okay.
So,
so I'll give you a +1 for Bellows.
Yeah, I won't be helping because I'll be making sure nothing else drops out of the trees or
Just
sky
looking
onto
up.
us. There'll be an awful lot of looking around.
I think that's really wise. Cool, and I think that's about all I can add. So I'm rolling 1 die with a +3.
Yeah.
I've rolled a 3. So that turns into a 6.
Nice.
Perfect. That's a success. You could try and turn that into a crit with a flip of the Doom coin. But,
I'm all right.
So, as you pick your way through the forest, you do, as you sort of approach the bell tower, the sound of the bells is getting louder and louder and is starting to get difficult to have a normal conversation with each other. Like, you are having to sort of, as if you're in a loud pub and everyone's talking at the same time, sort of have to really sort of get your point across, be a couple of feet away from each other and talk loudly. Whereas as you get closer, that sort of builds and builds. The going through the forest is slower, definitely, than the path, but you can't really see the tower, which of course means it can't really see you if there's anyone in there. You do find, as you travel, several sort of hastily covered pits that seem to have sort of some sharp sticks at the bottom of them. They're not from this direction. They don't seem very well hidden, but if you, as you're sort of going past them, you reckon that if you were coming from the tower and didn't know where they would be much easier to fall into. But clearly, sort of these have been made as traps within this forest. But you managed to continue on. Those are sort of very nearby the tower, and you find yourself at the sort of edge of the forest, looking up to the tower. Sort of, it's a short distance away. And
so I think I kind of point out the pits as we're navigating and going through and going like, don't step in that. It looks suspicious.
Can we mark trees? So if we're having to come back from the tower and we're coming back at pace and taking the same route, we can at least go, mark on a tree, swerve or
idea.
jump.
I like that, yeah.
Rather than having to
definitely take a little time
through them.
Drag a mark on the trees.
We might not come back this way. But I'd much rather not run into one at full pelt and discover the sticks.
So getting close to the
my
tower,
knee really hurts.
You will see that up against the tower is a sort of a scattered, half-built, half-burnt pyre that sort of has clearly been set alight but then put out. That's caused some sort of fire damage to the tower. The door is a little ajar. The tower itself is probably around 50, 60 feet tall. And yeah, from this distance, those bells ringing out from the top of the tower make talking to each other pretty difficult. From this distance, it is possible, but sort of once you get closer, that's going to be.
I'm going to lean over to Bellows and then Screever individually and say, well, at least we don't have to worry about being quiet.
Before we go any further, the bag I have tucked inside my tunic containing the rattly things, I was just told to empty it against the bell?
Smash them.
Smash them against the bell. So the question is then, Bellows and Scratcher, do we divide the contents of the bag in case one person only makes it up? Or do you think we need to do all of them? Will a partial smashing work?
We could see if we could get away with smashing one or two if it gets to it, and see if the guild notice.
I'm going to tip out the contents of that little sack onto my palm of my hand.
We're looking in the pouch.
I'm not looking in the pouch. I'm not looking. I'll make sure I'm never looking in the pouch. But I'm going to tip the
That's true. You're emptying the pouch and looking in your hand. Screever would make an excellent lawyer. So as you empty the pouch into your hand, you see what sort of, it looks like a rosary bead charm if all of the beads were human teeth. So sort of these holes through the teeth with a leather strap sort of worked between them. Each of the teeth is marked with sort of runic symbols that can't mean anything good. But apart from that, the whole thing seems a little mundane, a little ordinary.
Approximately how many teeth beads are there? That's a sentence I never want to repeat.
You'd say around 32.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I will divide them up somewhat equally.
What a strange number to pick out of a hat.
Yeah, around that.
I will cut the cord, give 10 to Bellows, 10 to Scratcher. I'll keep 12 for myself.
Okay.
Just in case. There are 3 bells, and we don't know what it will need, but we can do them one at a time.
It's been ordained.
We can do them one at a time if required, and then see whether or not that works.
So I'm going to ask Screever if I can put mine back in the pouch. If I can carry mine with the pouch. Because
it would be easier for you.
I have one free hand.
Yes, sans a hand. I'll hold the pouch out.
All right. So I'll drop mine in the pouch, and I think I'll fasten it like somewhere where I can like potentially fling it with my teeth or something. I'll try to fasten it around my shoulder.
Just tie it to the end of your spade at the back, and then you could swing the spade, and the bag would just be between the spade and the bell.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think with a bit of help getting
getting it tied.
We've got this leather strap now that's no longer needed for the beads that we can use to fashion.
While they're doing their arts and crafts, Bellows has stuffed his in his pocket because whatever, and he's keeping an eye on the door to see if there's any movement or anybody coming out, or if there's any movement in the windows or anything like that.
So, can you give me a keeping watch check, please?
Yeah, sure.
So anything that you think would help out with.
Could I use marksman perhaps with this?
I think a plus one. I think it's helpful.
And as this is one of my sort of underlying skills, that gives me an extra.
So that's only if it's perfect.
That's only if it's perfect. Right. Okay. Yeah, cool. So I'm getting a +1 from this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oops. Yeah. So I get +1. So I got a 5. So I rolled a 4. So there we go.
Excellent. Yeah. So that's equal. As you're sort of looking at the bell tower, you see small movements in the windows. In fact, I have.
Before, do you want to flip the Doom coin, Ben? Do you want to flip the Doom coin?
I genuinely think that yes, Bellows would flip the Doom coin because he's trying to get as much information as possible of this so that he can show everybody else up. So I'm going to flip the Doom coin.
Excellent.
Cool. So, right. So tails, it goes badly, and heads, it gets better.
Yes.
So yeah, I got a heads.
Marvelous. So the other thing with the Doom coin is that when you flip it, you keep it. So at a physical table, you would pass it sort of around the players. And you are what we call doomed.
Fantastic.
Which means that basically, if I'm meaning to pick on someone, I'll pick on you.
Perfect.
And if I attack you with an enemy or you sort of make a check, I can force you to flip that Doom coin by giving it back to me. So
seems
if only you'd done that
right
earlier, I wouldn't have been crushed by a body.
Maybe. So you see, sort of poking out of one of these windows, halfway up the bell tower, you see small heads sort of poking over, looking down curiously at the space in front. As you're looking and watching, the heads disappear. You sort of see a bit of movement, and then a body is flung bodily out of the window, tumbling as it does and landing awkwardly. This is not in a monk's robe. This is clearly dressed as a gravedigger, as it lands sort of crumpled out of the window. In its hand, you can see it's sort of still clutching the gravedigger's spade. Across its back, you can see a short bow and quiver. And what else did they have? I think that's the important stuff that you would be able to see this distance.
Because we recognized Scragger, and we know that Gravediggers travel kind of in bands together, do we know who Scragger was traveling with the last time we saw Scragger at the guild hall?
I think it was a success, wasn't it? The
yes, turned into a success.
So I think I'll let that one sort of just flow onwards. Mm-hmm. You know that they were traveling with Fox and Fetch, who were was a young musical gravedigger, used to be a minstrel, you believe, and Fetch, who has a bit of a shady past, a criminal of some sort. But you won't know much about them in general, but that's the sort of...
So do we suspect it was Fox or Fetch who went out the window just then?
From this distance, you couldn't tell. Like, neither of them have as identifying a face as Scragger did. But if you were to make a guess, you would say this might be Fox.
Okay.
Well, looks like Fox has had a little tumble off the cliff there. Oh dear. Well, at least that means there's one more left inside.
The mortality of the last group is increasing. If we found 2 dead so far, it's not looking good for the rest.
On the bright side, this might be keeping them busy as we get closer. And that also might mean an ally inside if we can get there quick enough.
So is that a suggestion to kind of rush? Let's...
I think
suggestion to rush from Bellows.
Bellows and I are in complete agreement. If there's a fellow gravedigger inside, possibly fighting for their very lives, we can't wait any longer.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And in his mind, Bellows is thinking, but I also want that bow and arrow. So, yeah, I reckon we go for it.
Just plow straight towards it. The heads dip back in once they'd launched.
Once their work is done, yes, they dip back in.
How far is the sort of between... I imagine we're still under the cover of the forest where we are. How far is between us and the bell tower entrance?
Probably around 100 feet, like a short run, but not a journey.
Okay. We're going to have to leg it.
Oh, leg it we shall. All right. Bellows is going to get ready to go. He's got 2 shovels, one in each hand now, because he stole the other one.
You
go for it. Yeah.
You close the distance with speed and alacrity. And so is it all 3 of you sort of rushing the tower together?
I think we're all heading at least to the edge of the door.
Yes.
Yeah, so you get to the door without any incidents. Was it Screever planning on just barreling through, or?
Oh yes. There won't be. The door's already ajar.
There's
no point in stopping.
While Screever's gonna barrel through the door, then Bellows is gonna scoop to pick up. Well, make a beeline for the body with the bow and the quiver that fell out as well, and see if he can snag those for himself. You sort of are focusing on the bow as Screever smashes through the door, spade in hand, ready to rock. And I think that's where we are going to start a combat.
Okay.
So, as you burst in, you will see the center of the room. So there's sort of oak flooring from wall to wall of this sort of square room, and a spiral staircase going around the edges of the square room all the way up to the top of the source of the bell ringing. In the center of the room, there are cracked floorboards and the remains of a great bell that has clearly fallen from all the way at the top of the tower, that are smashing the floorboards below. Hanging from the sort of dotted about the stairwell, you can see 3 strange creatures who look like humans, except for their heads, which have sort of Siamese cat-like features.
Oh.
Which I can give you a bit of a gander at. These are the bell ringers.
Lovely folks.
Oh, they're just delightful, aren't they?
So they are dressed in sort of traditional monk robes, tattered from old use and hand-me-downs, and definitely, you imagine, maybe they're not quite so legitimate as one might assume from their wear. So there are three of these creatures who seem surprised by this entrance. So I'm going to call them surprised, which means they start with a bit less defense at the start of the combat. So the way combat goes is we all gain defense. So you guys are sort of initiating, and you are not surprised. So you gain up to your maximum defense, which will be 4 for the most of you.
Yep.
Because there's no sort of weird armor or anything that you guys have, is there? No. Weird armor, just armor.
It's weird to have armor. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, what was that, Screaver?
It's weird to have armor.
Oh, yeah. It's just cowardice, you know?
Exactly.
So the bell ringers are surprised, which means they are starting with less defense. Bell ringer 1, 2, and 3. Exactly. And then we start a combat round. So each player chooses up to 2 of these actions. So you see on the action block, which is on your character sheets, or on this page here, it's shown. Mm-hmm. You can choose up to 2 of these actions. They must be different by taking 2d6 and selecting. So, for example, if you wanted to dash somewhere, that's a 2. And if you wanted to make a standard attack, that's a 4. So you might set your dice to 2 and 4. You can talk amongst yourselves and decide sort of what you want to do and what order you want to do things in. Mm-hmm. And the enemies are going to do their thing. So the first thing I do is basically decide what the enemies are going to do. The enemies are going to be acting so on 2, 3, 4 and 5. 2, 4, and 5.
2, 4, and 5.
Is what the enemies are going to be acting on. And you guys can choose what you want to do amongst yourselves. So,
and as well as each action we pick with the action die, we get a move with it. So it's move and standard attack.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Cool. Right.
Yeah. So if you chose light attack here on 3, you would get to move, then make a light attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick at least 1 3.
Sounds good. Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely want to attack with the bow, so I reckon I'm going to make that just I'll choose a 4 for that then, so I've got that sorted.
So I guess Screever's kind of run in and has seen what's happening. Are you planning on just carrying on straight into attack, or were you not expecting anyone to be there? Or
I expected something to be in here, so I will be plowing headfirst into them. So working on the principle that they're up the stairs to me.
So 2 of them are basically on the first landing, and one of them's basically on the second. So sort of, so I'm 7 feet up, 14 feet up, sort of thing.
I'm going to go with a dash to make sure that I'm right up there, and then follow that up with a, probably a standard attack.
Yeah,
I imagine by that stage we'll be fairly 2 to 2.
Yeah. Shall I guess, because I'm going to go and try and grab the gear, I should probably put that as a 1, so that sort of shows me trying to grab the arrow and the quivers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you've got the bow, but grabbing the quiver.
So I'll set a 1 and a 4 then as mine. So
which spade are you going to drop?
Oh,
We're holding 2.
Oh, I drop my own spade because clearly this other one belonged to a mighty hero.
So I think I'm going to not charge in as fully as Screever. I'm going to run in with you, but I'm going to set a 1 and use that as an aid to you. Mm-hmm. And then I've also got a 3 to get maybe a light attack in there.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. So after everyone's chosen their actions, we go down the initiative order. So has anyone got a 1?
I have a 1.
Excellent. Yeah. So if you guys want to do your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I will have drawn, so picked up the bow and arrow and got them ready to use, and then I'll move over to the door to make sure that I'm in a good spot to take a shot into the room.
Yeah, you can see each 3 of the bell ringers from this angle.
Sounds good to me. There we go.
Then Scratcher.
Cool. I think I'm going to move towards the foot of the stairs, but Screever is very much sort of broadcasting what he would like to do, so I'm trying to stay out of his way and give him a clear line of path, and then I'll save this one, the action bit of it, to aid him.
Fantastic. So yeah, just to note, in combat, basically the helpful allies portion of the check can only be done by someone who's readied the aid action.
Yeah,
you can only aid someone if you've taken the aid action.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any 2s?
I do.
So it's players and then enemies. So Screever.
We're taking the stairs 2 at a time, speed leveled like a lance. I'm just going to plow straight up there.
Yeah, so you're moments away from smashing this thing with your spade. The bell ringer sort of furthest up on the second landing takes a dash and starts running up the stairs.
Up the stairs. They're going up, not down.
Stairs, away from you guys.
Okay.
They're sort of dashing up that way. Something I should note is that enemies have a different stat block to you. So they might be taking different actions to what you guys have available.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any 3s?
I have a 3. Does anyone? Is it just me?
It's just you, yeah.
Did Screever get in close enough to attack?
Yes.
Did Screever attack? Not yet.
Got that coming.
Okay.
I think it's going to be difficult to sort of work around the stairs to do anything sort of behind him.
I might have gotten myself in a little bit of a pickle where I can't actually use this die.
Oh no.
A light attack. So I think I'm going to get in as close, use my move to get in as close behind Screever as I can and be positioned to help when his attack goes off.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 4s.
I have 4.
Okay. How's it going?
So the one that's running away up the stairs, is it still within eyesight or is it sort of gone off around a corner?
Yeah, so you can still see it.
I still see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want any reinforcements coming our way. So I'm going to I'll use a standard attack against the fleeing creature.
So the way attacks work is essentially these are special checks. So special checks are something I can use to replace that standard check that I've been using up until now. They have slightly different tables, slightly different sort of difficulties and modifiers, and sort of streamline common scenarios in the game. The sort of biggest one is the attack and how that works. So the difficulty of an attack check is equal to the toughness of the thing you're trying to hurt, plus any protection if it's wearing any armor. These guys are not wearing armor, and they have a toughness of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to hit a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, enemies can spend defense to try and increase the difficulty of the attack. So this guy could spend 2 defense to increase the difficulty by 2. And there is some extra stuff of if you have a useful trait, you can increases difficulty more, or if you decide to just hit the deck and go prone, if you're dodging or if you have a shield, that sort of thing. But in this case, because they're surprised, they started with 3 less defense than normal.
Right.
So this guy has no defense. So you're trying to hit a 4.
Cool.
So as normal, choose a trait that you think would be useful in this attack.
I think marksman would be pretty useful.
I think that would be good. So that's a +3.
Yeah.
Do you have a weapon?
I do have a bow, yes.
You have a bow, and I believe, let me just double check.
And I forgot to pick up the arrows now.
Yeah.
I use harsh language.
So this is a hunting bow. So it counts as improvised, but it's 2-handed. So essentially all that sort of cancels out, and it's a +1.
Cool. So I've got +3 from my ability and then +1 from my thing, yes? Or
Exactly.
So I'm at +4 to this dice roll.
You've got +4. So normally in a check, if you have a bonus that's more than the difficulty, then we skip all of the rolling stage and just go to flip the Doom coin because you're going to roll over. With attacks, however, you don't have to do that because the higher you get, the more you're going to do to this thing. So let's see what you get.
So I rolled a 4, so that turns it to a total of 8. So.
Excellent. So there's 4 over its toughness. So that's the face.
Perfect. They have weird faces anyway.
They have weird faces. So if you were attacking sort of a major NPC or a player was being attacked, then they'd take a major injury. They might have to resist death. There's a whole sort of process that things go poorly for you. But with NPCs, when they take a major injury, they're gone. They're dead. You get a bit of choice. So if you take someone in melee, you can choose basically not to have killed them. But I think with this, you just pin him to the wall.
Perfect.
Through one ear, out the other, pin to the wall. And
I like to think that Bellows says, "Did you see that?" But because the bells are so loud, nobody hears him.
Everyone's focused on their own things. Nobody took any notice of the brand shot you just made. Do we have any other 4s?
Yes, I'm going with a standard attack.
Marvelous. So similar vibe. You're trying to hit a 4. Do you have any useful traits?
I'm a melee fighter, and it is my defining trait.
Excellent.
And
you can tell these 2 are war gamers, can't you? So that's +3, and your spade is similarly 2-handed and improvised. So that's a +1 and a -1.
Okay.
So it's a +1 for having useful gear.
I would also like to add my aid die, so you get another +1. And I'd like to be like jabbing my walking stick in.
Just trying to trip their feet.
Yeah, keeping them distracted. It's not just one object coming at them.
Yeah, no, perfect. So that's +5 in total?
+5, yeah.
Nice.
Well,
it's not disappointing when I roll a 1 now, isn't it? 3, so 8 in total.
8 in total. Well, we know where that goes, don't we?
I open up his brain with a spade.
You get this guy across the eyes, and he stumbles back, blinded by the blade, stumbling on the stairs and falling back. As he does so, he falls sort of into the center of the room, cracking his head on the bell in the center of the room, which is something you do actually hear. That extra dong you can actually hear over the other bells for just a moment. Is
it a higher note or a lower note than the other ones?
Oh, it is a higher note.
Excellent.
Satisfying.
And if that is wrong because of resonant science, then it's a magic bell. Okay, that was actually the guy who also had an action on 4, so he doesn't get to do his thing.
Good. I'm glad.
Do we have any 5s? I think you guys might have
out of dice.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But the last bell ringer does have a 5, and he is going to leap down at the man who just blinded his friend and try and do Screever some damage. And so this is his heavy haymaker strike. He puts all his weight behind it If he had any defense, he would lose it, but he doesn't. So he is attacking and has +4 to this roll. You have a toughness of 4, but you probably have defense. So
I have a toughness of 3 currently because somebody
of course, you got landed on by another Gravedigger. So you may choose to dodge or block. So either way, you spend any amount of your defense, which increases the difficulty by the amount that you spend. Then if you have a helpful trait, that would increase the difficulty by 1 more or 2 more if it's perfect. Finally, if you're dodging, you can hit the deck and go prone to give yourself an extra +1. If you're blocking and have a shield, that's an extra +1. And that's essentially how that plays out. So,
I'm going to attempt to block.
Okay.
It is, after all, a melee, so I'm going to double down on melee fighter.
Yeah.
This isn't my first spade to cat-faced monk.
So how much block how much defense would you like to spend?
Could I spend? Well, I'll get. Will that be perfect? It won't be perfect. Well, it will be perfect. It's a defining trait.
Yes.
So it'll be a +3 to it anyway. So I'd like to spend 1.
1. So So basically, by spending at least 1, you get all the other bonuses. So you get 1 for the spending 1 defense. You get 3 for your melee fighters. So that's +4. You don't have a shield. You're blocking with your spade. So that is a +4 in total, which makes your difficulty to hurt you 8, which is a bit harder, but not impossible. And he gets a 1. You're not doomed by any chance.
Played 4 and got. No, that's him.
Okay, so he's off balance. He fails to hurt you, and if he had defense, he'd lower it again. So next up, we get to the. We don't have any more actions, do we? Or
no.
Yeah.
So we are at the end of the round. So this is where stuff that sort of happens at the end of the round happens. If you have any abilities that care about that sort of thing. If any of you have defense that is higher than your maximum defense, which if you'd taken the defend action, you might have gained defense, then it comes down to your maximum defense. And it's lovely having this just pop up whenever I'm talking about it. And normally you would be allowed a bit of an in-character sort of hurried word with each other, but since the bells, oh God, the bells, I think you will not sort of be able to do much in the way of conversing.
So are the bells now loud enough that Screever and I are standing next to one another? Can we not? There
is absolutely no sort of verbal communication that you guys can have with each other.
Okay.
You guys have known each other for a long time, and obviously you're in the same room, whereas we're on Discord. So there is a bit more sort of communication that can happen that way, but you're not going to be telling each other any treaties on political change.
Darn, that was my next action. Oh.
That would be that's an open action. So next up, we go to the retreat step. So I decide whether any NPCs are going to retreat or surrender. And I think they are going to retreat because that was scary. So the way retreating works is it's something you basically always succeed at, but there is a check involved. So you might succeed at it, but that success might come at the price of death. So the retreat check is increased by 1 for each dangerous opponent within short range of a retreating character, which would be Screever and Scratcher.
I was going to say, does Scratcher count? I think
yeah, you're within short range.
Yeah, that stick helps, yeah.
Yeah.
And decreased by 2 if there is a way to break the enemy's line of sight during retreat, which I think they're going to be going up, so I think you're going to be able to see them pretty much all the way up, and you're knowing where they're going, so I'm going to say that they don't have that. If they were deciding to retreat like out of the bell tower and able to close the door behind them, then that would count. So in that case, this is going to be difficulty 7, which isn't great for them. They are spry, so I'm going to give them a +2 and see how well they do. That's a 3, that's a 5, so that is under. A costly escape. So one enemy, so you guys, may move and make a free action. So basically you can get a free attack on this guy as he runs away. Any one of you?
Screever.
Yeah, I think I'll attempt to hamstring it with the side of my spade as it goes up.
Yeah.
So to the ankle, that'll slow its retreat down no end.
Go for it.
It's going to regret turning its back on you.
Yeah.
I think you're on +4 for this one.
3, so 7.
So that's 3 over. I think that's still going to do it. Let's have
3 over.
3 over is deep wound, which is a major injury, which since he's a minor NPC is enough to get him. So yeah, as he turns, you just take out his leg and he crumples to the floor. It is up to you whether you actually sort of killed him or whether you incapacitated him. But he is definitely out of this fight, squirming on the floor.
Once it crumples to the floor, I'll lever it off the stairs and let it plummet.
Yeah.
I like the sound the last one made when I hit the bell.
There's a lot of falling in this adventure. He crumples to the floor and is no more, and we are out of combat. And that is that's how good surprise is.
Surprise can be really good.
See, everybody loves surprises. I will gesture frantically to Bellows to come up while pointing above us. So
Bellows will nod, and Bill will have a look around on the ground floor just in case they missed another gravedigger body just sort of on the ground somewhere. So
down here you will see just the bell. There is sort of some space under the stairs, which looks like a good sort of hiding spot. But sort of checking that out, you don't see anything hiding in there. And yeah, everything seems pretty barren down here.
Cool.
How wide are these stairs that we're going up?
I'd say one person, so maybe
1 person.
3 foot.
All right, so I think we should rearrange because I had trouble getting around Screever. Maybe we're actually in a really good order because if it's Screever first, me in the middle, and then the archer at the back, that actually works quite well.
So yeah, Bellows will fall in behind and sort of give a thumbs up. Check how many arrows he actually has in his quiver.
It's a rookie mistake. It's Hong Kong cinema never taught you anything. The minute you check how many bullets are left in the magazine.
The minute you check there's none. I'm not Legolas.
So essentially your bow has enough arrows in it until you fail a check that has a cost.
No. That dastardly doom coin.
And
if
I decide to be mean to you, that might be one of the ways I decide to be mean to you.
Cool.
You can make your way up this tower. As you do so, can you each make me a resist death check?
Ooh.
Okay.
So if you have any traits that you think would give you resolve and sort of, the reason to keep on fighting, then those are definitely helpful.
I have brave.
Brave is perfect. So that's +2.
The difficulty is equal to thrice the number of injuries a character has.
So this one is just difficulty 5.
Oh, just difficulty 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is not gained from taking an injury. This is...
unfortunately, I don't think pride probably helps in this, so maybe not.
I think pride will give you a +1.
Give me a +1?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to seem like a coward.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I'm at +1 then.
Do you think Borderborn could help? Like I've eked out an existence. I'm a survivor.
I'll give you a +1 for it. Yeah. I'm feeling generous.
I rolled a 6 with that +1.
Okay, so we got a 6. I've got
a 4.
A 4.
I got a 1, so with +1 I got 2.
Okay, so Screever and Bellows, you're currently on failure. This isn't as bad as the check in the book.
Oh, thank Lord.
Buying. However, you may flip that Doom coin. I will warn you that critical fail on this is not fun.
You know what? I think I'll stick with.
Not feeling quite so reckless now.
No.
And
I will.
how's Screever feeling?
Oh, coin.
Oh, Screever's flipping it.
Which means poor old Bellows there will lose his.
Oh no! What a shame.
Our survey says heads.
Excellent.
Ooh.
So, can Screever, who got equal, can you gain me the condition bad hearing?
Oh.
Can Bellows give me
no.
the trait half deaf?
Oh.
Oh no.
And Screever, Scratcher's doing fine.
Pardon?
Scratcher's.
It was bound to happen.
You're not.
Scratcher's getting a headache, but they're certainly not half deaf.
So you don't actually notice anything. You can still hear these bells. So Bellows is at the back, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, so I think as you're going up, as you're going around one of the stairwells, Scratcher, you look to your right and sort of look at Bellows, and you'll just see a thin dribble of blood coming down from his left ear.
So as we continue up, I do want to get a look at the bell ringer that Bellows pinned to the wall.
Oh yeah, he's still upright.
But I think his body might actually be in our way because the staircase was so narrow.
He is in your way. It's definitely not. It's not a challenge to like either tip him over the edge or push him sort of into the side. But
I was wondering if Screever, because he's up front, could try to pull the arrow out and then step over, so that I don't know how I'm signing all of this. I don't know how I'm conveying that I would like to look at our enemy, basically.
A tap with your walking stick on the back of my shoulder.
Okay, yeah.
And then,
as we get close, I could like reach around you and tap on the bell ringer's shoulder. I don't know if that'll successfully convey.
By various mummery and mimicry, I'll get the idea that I shouldn't just lever it straight down 3 flights.
Yeah, so as you sort of twist the bell ringer around, as you saw that image earlier, it's got long sort of cat-like ears, sort of a bit like a Siamese cat if sort of it was on a human's body, with sort of pinkish soft flesh, overly wrinkled around the eyes and the forehead. It stares with vacant eyes and is wearing a monastery robe, similar to the gravedigger that fell from the sky at the beginning of this ordeal. Around its neck is an amulet with the sign of the immortal, which is sort of crossroads cross. Etched into that sign, however, is a big crescent moon that's sort of been hastily scratched into it with a knife or blade.
Mm.
So I have an ability that I gained during character creation called Fable.
Okay.
So I was wondering if I could try to use this ability. It's to do with learning a fable about a creature. Or seeing it. I think it's seeing if I could remember a fable about this creature.
Yeah. So I believe the way that one works is you flip the Doom coin.
I have to flip the Doom coin.
And either way, you remember a story. But if it's a Tails, then you are doomed for the rest of the session.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. So I've taken the Doom coin from Screever. I have it in front of me. Flip it left-handed. It's a heads.
Excellent.
Nice.
So you are still doomed. You still have the coin, but
Yes.
it's the normal type where it travels around. So you take a look at this creature, and you do indeed remember a story about the Opiri. It is the daughter of Frenzy. Said that one of the traitor gods long ago created the Opiri and her cultists in a dreadful war they were waging against the Immortal, any priests of the Immortal, and anyone that follows the dead god's sign. The reason for its hatred is simple. The Immortal, or one of the church's crusades, was successful and managed to kill one of the traitor gods, Joy. The story goes that Frenzy, Joy's sister, was so angered by this fact that she swore blood vengeance against any members of the Church of the Immortal. This is one of her creatures. It may have once been a human, but as the story goes, those closest to the traitor gods often take their likeness.
I'm going to reach around and try to take this necklace from off the neck, because I recognize like the symbol of Frenzy and the whole story behind it. So I'm going to try to keep that.
You take the necklace and gain it.
And I indicate to Screever that it can now be pushed over the edge.
Heave-ho.
Over it goes.
And it tumbles down, hitting the floor.
Missed.
And, you're about halfway up these stairs now.
Press on, because we've yet to see our third Gravedigger.
That's true.
And time is very much a factor, assuming they haven't gone out a window above us while we've been there. So
you forge onwards and upwards, eventually getting closer and closer to these ringing bells. As you finally get to the top, you will see before you the very bells. There would have been 4 in total. There are only 3 left, and you can obviously see the 4th one down below. They are each being rung by 2 of these bell ringers each. The creatures sort of one below, one above, one pulling on a rope, one sort of pushing it as it goes over the top to keep it swinging, keep it ringing. These creatures are run ragged. They are breathing heavily. They are tired. They are right at the end of their sort of ability. You can sort of see like every single push, every pull is taking them beyond the limits of their exertion, and yet they still keep going, and yet they still keep ringing and ringing those bells. They pay you absolutely no mind, absolutely no heed. They just keep ringing those bells. You feel like they have spotted you. They have seen you as you came up. But whatever it is you're
more important than me.
Yeah, the bell. Exactly.
This is terrible.
They don't know you have a medal.
I'm an officer, don't you know?
The first thing I'm going to do is move away from the door to allow Scratcher and Bellows to come in behind me. Keeping an eye on the closest of the bell ringers to see whether they break away. So
you will also see. So the room is square, the same shape as the tower, with 3 windows in each side. You are sort of dizzyingly high up, can see a long distance out over the beleaguered plaguescape. The roof of the room has a single trapdoor in the far corner that has been left open, sort of hanging down with a makeshift rope ladder sort of hanging down from that roof.
Can we see light coming from through the trapdoor? Is it opening onto the roof, or is it
no, it seems to be opening into a space sort of within the roof.
I'm going to switch my walking stick for my spade with the pouch that we tied to the end of it. And I'm going to look at you two and shake my spade at the bells.
Okie dokie.
Well, Bellows is not going to. Bellows looks at the nearest one that's ringing a bell and just sort of sneers, pulls the bow back and just shoots at the nearest one that's to take it out. So
Okay.
got to stop the bells ringing so we can smash the things on it. So in his mind. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to require any sort of check there. Like these things are sitting ducks.
So he shoots the one and he just aims at the other that's next to it, like it's partner in crime, to see if it stops.
So you shoot one, and it tumbles down. The other sort of pulls on this bell, but without the sort of weight of the other one sort of pushing over. The bell sort of falls back, and he can't quite get it over the top. In his panic, he sort of tries to jump down and push it again, but one is just not enough to do this job. And inevitably, he slips, clawing at the bell as he falls, but its sheer surface giving no purchase. He slips, he falls, and 60 feet down, hits the ground. There are 2 bells left.
Is it still noisy? So noisy we can't talk?
I think... Yeah. It's. I think even a couple of bells is probably enough.
Okay. I'm gonna walk forward with my spade, like to the bell that is, I guess, coming to a stop, and I'm just gonna try to whack the pouch on the end of it against the bell. I'm like keeping an eye on the bell ringers.
Yeah, Bellows will cover her by sort of keeping an eye on the others to see if they come nearer and. Well, he'll shoot them if they come close.
I'll just interpose myself between.
Yeah.
Okay. They do not. They do not sort of stop their work as you approach. Can you give me a smashing teeth against a bell check?
Okay.
Only in Doomsong.
It's one of the standard skills.
Yeah.
I think I might have a negative helpful trait in this one. Missing arm?
Yeah, I think so. Though, I'm actually going to say with your work to negate it, like you're tying it to the end of that spade, I think I'm going to say that's a net 0.
Okay.
But I think it is going to be the standard 5 that you're trying to hit.
Okay.
You could take the time if you'd like.
What would that look like? Just me like getting close to the bell, standing still, really, really aiming?
Yeah, lining up your shot, sort of taking your time over it rather than like trying to rush over and just smash it.
Okay, cool. I will take my time then. And I will roll 2 dice. And the highest is a 5.
Excellent.
So it's a good thing we did that.
So that is equal with cost. Are you flipping that coin?
I mean, I do have it right now, so...
Failure is failure.
I think I'm not, because it's equal, so it's going to be okay. There's just a bit of a cost.
So you line up this shot. The bell is still sort of slightly swinging, though not enough for the clapper to hit the edges of the bell. And you line it up and you take this swing. It connects perfectly, and you can feel rather than hear the sickening crunch of these teeth breaking within the bag. Then there is a force sort of exploding out from between spade and bell. The bell itself shatters into 100 pieces. Your spade shatters into about 4.
My spade.
Embedding themselves in the opposite side of the room from the bell.
Wow.
And the bell sort of embedding itself in the side of the tower, blowing out sort of the space between 2 of these windows. Pure masonry sort of shattered with the force of whatever just broke.
You can't hear me saying it, but I'm thinking and like muttering to myself, it's a good thing we split these teeth up, because how big would the explosion have been if it had been the whole bunch together? Cool. So I don't really have a spade anymore. I'm going to keep a hold of like the little, I guess, bit of handle I have left and kind of back away and give other people some space. We've got 2 more bells still ringing.
So could Screever give me a spotting stuff check, please?
Okay. Can I beg marksman in there?
Yeah, definitely. +1.
3. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, nothing's wrong. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. We're all fine here. So,
Bellows reaches into, he like puts his bow on his, he holds his bow in one hand and just reaches into a pocket and pulls out the handful of teeth. And he's trying to think of something.
I think I see you doing this, and I reach down and I rip off like the bottom, a strip off my. I don't want to say I'm wearing a skirt. I think that's probably too formed, but like the rags I'm wearing, and like hand you this strip to bind them in.
I wrap them up quickly. Okay. Oh. Well. Going to try. So doing basically the same thing as Scratcher did. I'm going to put the bow away, grab the, I don't know, how would I do? Strap the packet to the end of the shovel, my spade as well, and smash this against the bell. I guess the same time.
So you smash. So there's 2 bells left, which are still being rung by the.
Oh, they're still being rung
by the bell ringers.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just try and use the weight of the bell as it swings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Maybe we don't have to try to stop them.
That's true. Yeah. So I'll move over, and since they didn't seem to be reacting and they wanted to keep doing their job, I'll do that. The thing you suggest, and sort of stand so that the bell will smash into the teeth and the spade, the shovel.
Just a curious question. May I ask who's doomed at the moment?
I think I'm doomed.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm going to.
I looked down at the coin and was like, "Oh."
I'm going to back up from the bell that Bellows is about to do, and just gently push Scratcher behind me on the grounds that we've seen what one does.
Okay.
We want a bit of space between us.
Bellows, can you give me a smashing teeth check?
Yeah, definitely.
I think Melee Fighter's going to help you out here.
No, I don't have that, unfortunately.
Oh, you don't have that?
I do. If this is a reckless endeavour, perhaps that would help.
I'll give you a +1, but
cool.
The cost might be worse.
This, you never. I might get that Doom coin in a second. We'll see. Oh, +1. So I got 3 in total. So no, that's not.
You're getting that Doom coin.
Oh, I could. I'm solid. I'm going to do the Doom coin. I'm going to try and see if I can flip it.
Flip it. I'm not doomed.
to get the equals, because currently I'm under, aren't I? So let's have a go. It's a heads. It's okay. So Excellent. It's gone up to success with cost.
Success with cost.
Yeah.
And I think similarly, this is going to shatter both bell and spade against the bell and the teeth. And there is just one left. So the bell explodes. Does that like? I can't think of any other. Does that piss off the bell ringers that are like working it? Being the sort of that close to it. So it explodes basically outward, so you're not sort of caught in it, but the bell ringers definitely are.
Okay.
It's like grape shot.
Yeah, it's not a pretty sight.
Right. I mouth.
Bellows puts out his hand and he's like, "Give it to me," kind of thing.
So.
Well, I drop most of the teeth into his hand, just in case. Most.
All but one.
All but 2.
This look. Have you never seen Pirates of the Caribbean? This is how curses start. Okay. Now Bellows has them. He doesn't exactly know how he's going to destroy these now.
You have lost a spade per.
We have, yeah.
Per batch.
Where did
Bellows will immediately take that spade, and he'll do the same thing, and he'll wait for it to ring and smash on the end of it. So,
can you give me another?
Oh god, I'm doomed. The outfitters back at the guild are not going to like us when we come back with less spades than we left with. So,
they make spades by the 100.
I got a 2, so that's 3 in total again. So that's under.
That's a failure.
It is a failure.
Feeling like flipping that coin? You're already doomed.
I'm already doomed. Let's do it. Yeah. I am brash, reckless, of course. That's a tails. Never mind.
Oh dear.
That's a critical failure then, I guess.
That is a critical failure.
Yeah.
So you take a swing, and the bell ringer that is sort of ringing this bell, without sort of taking notice of you, sort of is sort of moving to ring the bell and gets completely in the way. And you smash this spade against him rather than the bell.
Yeah.
This knocks him loose and sort of starts to he topples down again. Trying to ring that bell alone just isn't possible, and the effort to try and do it sends the other one sort of toppling. The swing that you were expecting to sort of, you were bracing against this bell but hit sort of soft flesh, sends you off kilter, and you start to fall. You manage to catch yourself on the rafters beside this bell. As you sort of are holding yourself up, you look over the boards at your allies, thinking perhaps to shout out. In that moment, you do realize you can still hear the bells. All four are quiet. Screever and Scratcher. Screever, like, you can hear this faint, like, after image of bells. Scratcher, you're fine. Bellows, you can still hear those bells.
Oh no!
Oh no!
You can still hear them going. But that isn't what really sort of fills your mind as you're sort of clawing to get yourself back up. Which we'll sort out rolling for that in a sec. Don't you worry.
Right.
You see, forcing its way down through this trap door, a figure. It has a cat-like head, but it is anything but humanoid.
Good kitty.
Forces its head down first, and then its sort of grotesque, misshapen shoulders through the hole, obviously struggling with its great bulk. It looks at each of you, fury in its eyes. And I think we'll have a little combat here.
Oh, good.
Just a little one. That's good.
It is not surprised. And
are we? Dare I ask?
I think. Can you give me a? Well, we did fail our seeing things check, so actually, yes. I think I'm just going to be mean and say yes.
We did fail our seeing things check, didn't we?
We did.
Well, I certainly did. Yes,
as a team. Okay, so everyone gains their maximum defense -3.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
So we only get 1 defense then. Interesting. I said, so we're going out some windows.
Okay. And I have chosen the Operi. That is the name of this creature.
Mm-hmm.
I've chosen their actions.
Okay.
They are acting on 2 and on 6.
2 and 6.
Well, my aim will be to run forward and help Bellows before Bellows becomes some sort of tower pancake at the bottom on top of the monks.
I am also going to try to do that because my goal was to save Bellows' life.
It was.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to be helping in that. Completely, like, we're going to be completely open to this thing, but we must save Bellows.
Cool. So you guys have both done aids then? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that's your first ones? Okay.
I think, so would that work mechanically as an aid
right.
to Bellows' role, or would that be an open action to kind of run in and, like, then it's our check to pull him up?
Oh,
either would work. If you aid, basically that would be +1 when he tries to take an open action to get up, or you could open action to.
And that's a 6 if you do a focused action, is it, or is that?
So there's a 2, 4, or 6. So 2 is hasty,
right.
4 is standard, and 6 is focused.
I see, yeah.
So 6 is definitely the one that's most likely to get you up, but
it's also the last one,
after everything else is done.
Yeah, okay.
I think I'm going to do a 2.
Okay.
Rush over and like use my one arm to like grab you by the middle of your back and haul you up as best I can. That's part of my plan.
Screever, which one were you going for?
I'm thinking a standard action. So dropping it at 4.
Cool.
Because I'm already, I mean, if we haven't got you up out of there by then, I feel it's bad time for you anyway.
I guess that I think I'd probably still try and do like a hasty action as my first one because I'm trying to not fall to my death, I suppose. So I guess that would be it.
But the other thing you could do is if you chose the aid action, you could help someone trying to help you up.
So yeah, actually, if I do aid and I see Scratcher running over, I can use that I'll do that then. So I see that's happening, so I'll do 1 for an aid.
So has everyone chosen their dice?
And I think just for my last one, I'm gonna pick 3 to take some recover.
Yeah.
Just because I think having no defense is probably a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna do recover as well, I think, as my second dice. So
fantastic. So do we have any ones?
We do. I will add my aid. There we go.
So I'm going to give you a bit of a devil's bargain here.
Oh.
In your left hand, you still have your spade with the teeth attached to the end of it. You could choose to take this action to stow, to basically put your spade away so you have both hands free, which would mean you wouldn't get your aid, you wouldn't get your +1, but you'd be fine, basically. You could just drop it and use this action as aid, so you would get your +1, but of course be dropping the spade. So that's sort of your best chance for getting up.
There is that bell at the bottom. So maybe if you drop the spade, the teeth will hit the bell. Yeah. We could just
that is option C.
Bellows would be like, I can get out of this. He's going to drop the spade. He'd rather save his own life than So he'll drop the spade. Yeah.
Are you aiming for the bell below?
Oh God, he's got to. He's got to. He's got to try that. Yeah.
Okay. I think rather than a check, I'm going to make this just luck. Cool. So do you want to flip me the Doom coin?
Oh, okay. God, this Doom coin lives in my part of my character.
Doom.
It is a heads.
It falls. It seems to fall forever, and but eventually it does hit the ground, and with a chime that sounds out across the plaguescape, these teeth hit spade, hit bell, and shatter both. The force of the explosion does send the entire tower shaking slightly. You feel that if you'd got a tails, that sort of shaking might have shaken you loose a bit. But so you are still precarious, but not falling as of yet. Do we have any more ones? Yeah. What are you up to?
Well, I was scampering across the floor to attempt to stop Bellows plummeting. So, assuming I can reach him.
Prepping an aid.
And also throw some
aid. An aid in pocket. Yeah.
Fantastic. Do we have any 2s?
You do. I am going to rush over there and perform a hasty action as an open action. So I'm going to try to... I'm going to put my walking stick down behind me, reach over, grab Bellows by the small of his back, just as much material and cloth as I can get, and try to grab him up.
Okay. So you're on 2 dice. You've got +2 from your allies. I think you are going to have a -1 from your missing arm.
At least a -1.
I think I'm going to say a -1. And do you have any traits that you think are going to help you out here?
I don't think I do. I think this probably would have been better if Screever had done it, but I like the story of me trying to do this.
This is your goal. This is XP we're talking about.
So
Fair. sacrificing my own opportunity to do it to help you get your goals is also my goal.
There we go.
XP all
Everyone
round.
except Bellows' goal.
Yeah.
Which apparently is not full 60 feet.
So I did miss what my aim is. What's the difficulty?
So we're looking for a 5.
A 5. I'm on at least a -1.
So
And
you've
I
got
had 2
-1
8
plus
dice.
3.
Okay,
So you've
I've
got
got
+1 in total.
+1.
And it's rolling 2, twice taking the lowest, I'm afraid.
Ooh, okay. Oh my god, I got 2 6s. That's a crazy roll.
That's 7. That is a feat. As you, I think he does slip. He does fall, but then the camera sort of focuses in on his trailing arm and this one hand grabs the forearm. And with an almighty effort, you almost go over, but Screever sort of gets you by the back, and you sort of all sprawl out onto the deck, breathing heavily.
That's just like, I didn't even know. I thought this was futile. I didn't know I was capable of this, and I've just lifted a man single-handedly. Single-handedly.
I'm a god.
It's those traitor gods that they're clearly giving you something. So.
you get up and you're like, heretic. Do we have any other 2s?
No, not for me.
Well, we do have one other 2.
Oh no.
Frenzy of Claws.
It's just going to ask for kibble, right? No? Okay.
No, Frenzy of Claws.
Who's doomed?
I'm doomed. I'm always doomed.
Yeah, I think you pull up and over, and you're greeted by this cat bat-like monstrosity, the Opiri, one of the daughters of Frenzy, and its claws retract, unretract, whatever the opposite of retracting is, and it lashes out. So it's a small attack. It's only +3.
Okay.
What is your toughness?
So my toughness is 4.
4. And are you spending any defense on this boy?
I'm going to spend my one defense that I have.
Excellent. So you don't have anything equipped, so you can't choose to block.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, you must have a weapon or a shield or something to block with. So you must choose to dodge.
I'll try to dodge, and I'll try and be ducking out of the way. So yeah.
So you're hitting the deck, going prone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, yeah. I like to think that maybe he stood up and sort of like, aha, and then went, ah.
That's an extra +1. Do you have any traits that are going to help you out with dodging?
Unless Slumcast, perhaps, but I don't think so. Probably.
I think I'm going to give that one to you.
So yeah.
So that's +2 total. So he's looking for a 6.
Mm-hmm.
You got a 4 + 3. That's a 7.
No.
That's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
That is, I believe, loser toughness.
Loser toughness.
Let me double check that one. Yeah, loser toughness.
Tis but a scratch.
Tis but a scratch.
Yeah.
And since he didn't injure anyone, he doesn't get another attack. But that is his 2 action. This great hulking beast, so directly in front of each of you. Do we have any 3s?
I have a 3. I would like to recover some defense.
Yeah, go for it.
I think we both would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the recover action, any traits that you think would help you out? Melee fighter, fearful, small, burly, that sort of thing.
I'm going to just ask about Borderborn again. Like, I'm a survivor. Do you think that's...
I think I'm not going to give it to you for this.
That's okay. Got to ask.
Yeah, you got to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. If you have any swords or other sort of hilted weapons, like weapons actually made for war, those will give you a +1. Shields are perfect, give you a +2. But otherwise, you are just taking your check and looking to the difficulty is equal to twice your current defense. So I think that's 2 for Screever.
I spent my defense last time.
And you've got 0. So this is an automatic. So this is trivial, which means that you don't roll the die, you just flip the Doom coin.
Lovely. Do you want to go first, Scratcher?
Sure. I would just roll. The difficulty is 2 for me. Mm-hmm. And I got a 6.
Excellent. So you gain 2 defense, or 3 defense if there were no adjacent enemies, but this Opiri is round.
Okay. So I've gained 2 defense.
Yep.
Okay.
And I flip the Doom coin.
Did you flip the Doom coin?
And it is heads.
Heads. So you gain 4 defense.
Nice. Oh,
Okay. Any
fighting fit.
got any 4s?
Yes.
You got this, Screever.
You
Screever
can
pushes
do
us
this.
down a hole.
Oh, not quite. So, medal
Oh.
in one hand, pulled off my chest
Oh, yeah, because we're spadeless now.
with the 2 teeth on the medal. And then I'm going to go, here, pss, 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 and try and attract the Opiri towards me
Oh,
just before I jump onto the bell and slam them into the side.
I love this.
Nice.
I absolutely love this.
I want to run.
Oh, why is he being so brave and noble? I need to be brave and noble.
Yeah, you see Scratcher look at you like, look back and forth like, oh, brave and noble.
That's a me.
So, just as a bit of atmosphere, is Bellows still hearing bells?
Yes.
Okay.
Constantly.
Bellows will hear bells until he dies. So I'm going to call this.
Far away, Bellows.
I'm going to call this difficulty 7.
Okay.
This isn't going to be easy, but I think Melee Fighter is going to help you out.
Yes. So +3.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm not going to give you gear because I think that's just making it possible rather than being sort of perfect for the task.
spectacular. What about either my noble bravery or my awesome recklessness?
So generally, you just pick the one trait, your best one.
So
Go with that
melee
one.
fighter is
So-
going to be top dog
Yeah.
for this. Okay.
Would Reckless be
Survey
perfect and Melee Fighter just good? Or
I think both would be perfect. I think, and
Okay.
I think we've got the defining trait. So
It's Doom coin time.
Yeah.
what did you get?
I got a 1.
Oh,
That's not good. What does
Are you
the
going to take this Doom coin off me?
Oh, yeah. It's been so long since you've had it. Like,
yeah. Let's see which.
I got tails.
Oh, no.
For whatever reason. The other explosions went outward
Mm.
and sort of kept you, like, the person who initiated it was safe. Something in the reverberation, in the sound of this goes wrong, goes horribly wrong. You do hear the crunch of the teeth. You feel it sort of in the metal as you smash it against the bell. But the explosion of the metal itself back through your hand against your face. Can you give me the missing hand trait?
Sure.
Oh, sorry, the missing hand condition, because it is.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to grow back.
No, the way those sort of things happen is basically when one of those is treated, it becomes a trait rather than a condition.
Right, yeah.
And can you make me a resist death check at difficulty 3? And you cannot use your medal for this check.
I get a 3.
You get a 3.
Get a 3.
Okay. So you're blasted off of this bell, slam against the stairs on the other side. And you are sort of stunned, holding on to your last. The next time you take an action, if you haven't received first aid, you're going to have to make me another resist death check.
Okay.
But this, your hand is blown off. Do we have any other? Well, that was a 4?
That
3?
was a 4.
4?
Mhm.
Do we have any other 4s? Any 5s? Got a 6.
No.
Glad I'm not in that room.
So the Opiri launches itself into the air, bursting out of one of the windows. It circles the bell tower and is out of range of anything but ranged weapons. But you can tell it's sort of within short range, so it could dive back in at any moment.
Okay.
Then we move on to end of round.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can have a chat, decide what you're wanting to do, and it is not retreating, but you may.
So you are a bone setter.
Yes.
Although you can't hear me, you can only hear bells. I wonder, I have seen like blood dripping down your ear, so I don't think you can really hear anything anymore. I think I'm gonna like try to shake you and like point at Screever and like mime first aid. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm going to like do my best to keep an eye on the Opiri, although I know that you're the marksman.
Cool. Yeah. So in that case, then, because I really, really want to show Screever up and really help and like save his life, I'm going to take a focused action as one of my next things we do.
You'll have to come downstairs. Just don't forget. You're on the same floor, aren't you? Or I think I fell through and got.
Yeah, you're essentially one floor down, basically.
Okay. Right. In that case, then.
So I think we should. Yeah, it might be good if we get out of this open area where it's bursting in and out, and like, go to Screever.
Yeah. So do we count that as a retreat as we do that then, as to get down from this level to the lower floor, or? So
essentially, if you want to get out of the combat. Mm-hmm. So getting down sort of into the base of the tower and sort of away from the Opiri, I would definitely call that a retreat.
Cool.
I think we're just getting to Screever for the next round. I'm not sure we're necessarily retreating from combat.
Right, okay. Cool. In that case, then
might do a bit of combat triage and then run.
Yeah. In that case, then I'm going to use a dash to get downstairs. And then I'll use a focused action to try and treat his wounds on his hand, I think.
Okay.
So, I'd at least bundle up the end of his arm.
Mm.
And the bloody smear that was his fingers.
There's still some of them there dangling.
Oh. It's taken out the center, but there's still...
Oh yeah, is there like a perfect medallion shape through the middle?
It's like the sign of the cross.
So I'll do a dash for a 2 and a 6 for a focused action. So
okay, has everyone chosen their dice?
Yes.
No. What is the Opiri going to do? They have to pick first.
The Opiri is on a 2 and a 3.
2 and a 3. Okay.
Sneaky Opiri.
And it's like in midair, I guess. I am going to perform a hasty open action, so that's a 2. And I might do a 4 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we have any 1s?
Nope.
Do we have any 2s?
We do, so I'm going to dash.
Dashing over to...
Yeah, so run down the 2 flights across the room and down the flight of stairs to Screever.
I also
with a smirk on my face.
I'll only heal you if you admit I'm better than you.
Yes, exactly.
It almost worked, damn it.
Any other 2s?
I also have a 2. I would like to perform a hasty open action.
Yeah.
I'd like to pick up my walking stick and try to bind rags around it. Just more rags I'm taking off my clothes. Wear rags, it's useful.
Yeah.
And then regardless of that, I want to use the move to follow Bellows down the stairs as far as I can.
Yeah, definitely. So you have a rag-covered spade.
So do I have to roll for that?
Which spade?
No, it's a walking stick.
The walking stick. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I don't think we have any spades anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're running out.
There's
running
one outside the front door.
Yes, there's one at the front door, yeah.
Run all the way down the stairs. Okay, we do have some twos.
Well, I've also had 2.
So okay.
I want to make a hasty action to attempt to stem the flow of blood from my stumped hand.
Yeah, you can give me some first aid.
I have nothing for this. Nothing. Survey says. Oh, 1.
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay. 1's not great.
No, it's not so you'd notice.
You love Doom coins, right?
I think he loves Doom coins now.
Yeah, you're currently managing to make matters worse.
Oh no!
Stop poking your fingers in it.
unless you want to flip that Doom coin.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but the Doom coin is really bad on this.
Oh god, yeah.
It can't be that bad, surely. I've got a head for once in my life.
A head.
So,
a heads.
Oh.
Heads.
Heads. If you want to get heads.
You managed to stem the flow of blood, and you are no longer basically having to take resist death checks.
I've just stuffed my shirt
every time you act
into the hand hole. What it is.
Okay. From outside, everyone except Bellows hears a screech.
Screech.
Everyone just talks in Bell.
You guys are mostly sort of actually down below the windows now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Or are you still upstairs?
I was heading downstairs. I wasn't sure how far I could make in terms of useful movement.
So yeah, I think you'll have got across, but not down, because Bellows took a dash. To get down.
Okay. I'm preparing to descend.
You can still see out of the window. You see the Opiri flying, but you also see coalescing out of the lonely cloud that was surrounding the bell tower.
Nothing good ever coalesces.
No.
No. You see the suggestion of an owl in the mist. Its grand claws tearing at the Opiri.
I take it back.
A savior owl.
Savior owl. And sort of flings it aside. You see sort of drops of blood coming from the Opiri.
So I'm looking through the window and seeing like this grand epic battle between a cloud owl and a cat bat.
Exactly, yeah. And I think the Opiri is going to, in vain, it slashes away and bites, but every strike is just going through mist. Every bite is clamping shut on nothing in its fear. Do we have any 3s?
Nope.
No.
Okay, well, we do have one here. So the screech gets louder. Can everyone give me a resist fear check?
Do I hear this?
I was going to say, I think Bellows. I think you ignore it entirely. And
I am mostly deaf and hear bells constantly. So,
and I think Screever, you had bad hearing, didn't you?
I do.
So I think that's going to give you a +2.
Okay.
What difficulty am I trying to hit? As someone whose hearing is fine, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's all going the other way. It's difficulty 6.
6. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, and I don't think I have any traits that particularly help, so it's just a straight roll. It's a 6. You guys aren't going to believe that I'm rolling this many 6s.
I got an 8.
You really are a god.
Panic is kind.
and Bellows doesn't have to take it. So that's equal for...
Equal.
So fight. Fear quickens your reflexes. Gain 1 defense.
Nice.
Okay.
And then over, we've got bold. Screever, you cannot be scared by this effect. Again, this until sunset.
Love it.
So you've gained an immunity to that sort of source of fear. That was their 3. And then I think the Opiri is going to launch itself back in through the window. And basically, it's trying to force its way back up into the top of the tower, scrabbling at that corner of the room. You can see sort of bright red blood on its flanks. It is obviously outmatched and trying to get away.
Well, I have a 4. And it's going to have to get past me.
Okay.
The godlike scratcher.
We'll see if so my plan was to use my witch occult ability.
Ooh.
So I have prepared like a makeshift torch, and I would like to use the open action on the 4 slot to try to light some wildfire.
Ooh. Okay. So this is panic, isn't it?
Yes, page 82.
Okay, so you're lighting this torch magically
on the end of a walking stick, and I think it would be really cool if I like jabbed it at the Opiri and like didn't let it back in the tower. Like, no, stay out there.
I think this is going to be difficult.
Okay.
But I will say, like, flame against an animal, that's perfect for scaring it. So that's going to give you a +2. And you are going to be looking for appearing. I'm going to say a 7 on this one.
Looking for a 7.
Looking for a 7.
How much? How many bonuses were you saying that like the fire was?
+2 for the torch, and then if you have a trait that's going to help you out here.
I don't think so. Just we'll see if this works.
I think I would give you a +1 for Borderborn with this for dealing.
Okay. I wasn't going to ask. I was going to be like, I've been too cheeky with Borderborn. But all right, so I'm rolling standard action, 1 die +3.
Exactly.
It is a 2.
So that is a failure.
Yes.
With cost. Are you flipping that Doom coin?
Yes. This is like what I save the Doom coin flips.
Yeah.
Like. And it is a tails.
Oh,
excellent!
Join me in failure.
What's your toughness at the moment?
My toughness is 4.
4. And what's your defense? Basically, it's getting a free attack against you.
My defense is also 4.
So, are you spending any of it?
I will spend every single defense I have. Every defense to my name.
So that's +4. Are you dodging or blocking?
Dodge, I think. I don't think I can block an entire Opiri.
Do you have any traits that are going to help you out here?
Not really. Borderborn?
Borderborn, yeah. So that's going to be a difficulty 8 that it's trying to hit.
Okay.
So
I'm now at 0 toughness, 0 defense because I've spent all of it.
Yeah. It is at a +6. So could still go very poorly. That's a 3. So that is a 9. I think that's in the lower end of
that's 1 over.
+1, yeah. That seems survivable. What was that?
Yeah.
Lost your other arm.
that was just
1
a
1 over is lose 1 toughness. Great.
Lose the other arm.
You're barreled out of the way, and this creature launches itself into the attic. Do we have any more dice?
I still have a 4, but
and I have a
mainly
6 later as well.
for shouting.
That's good. Let's go to the 4.
Yeah. Since there's no sign of Scratcher, I will shout to her to try and, get your arse down here. You believe. Sooner if not later.
Yeah, well, their hearing is working perfectly, so...
Yeah, and I am shouting back, like, on my way! Like, I just saw death coming at me, and it looked like a Siamese cat.
Yeah, that works for me. Then we had a 6.
Yeah,
do some impromptu surgery.
Yes, I've got my focused action. So,
so surgery is used when you want to treat a patient for an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So you can only be made once per day per injury.
Yep.
I think I know which one you're choosing, but I think you've got bad hearing and the missing hand.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try to fix his hearing?
I just clap my hands on the side of his head. There you go. No, I'll try and sort his hand. Yeah.
So the difficulty would normally be 5, but it's increased by 1 per injury the patient has. So 6 per other injury the patient has. If you have useful traits.
I don't have you, but I am a bone saw, so I don't know.
Bone saw's perfect, so
yeah,
+2.
So, yeah, cool. Right. Here we go. And because it's focused, I roll 2 dice and pick the highest. Yeah.
Exactly.
And what's the difficulty again? Sorry.
6.
6.
I need my hand.
What was the plus?
2.
I rolled a 4, so I got 2, so it gets it to 6. So it's it's equals. So success with cost, just as I would like it. Can't have him being too healthy. So.
Yeah, but the cost could be anything. Cost could be using tools inside my hand.
Well.
It's a needle you're never getting back.
Yeah. Where's my needles?
Reduce the patient's maximum defense. So that's not just your defense, that's your maximum defense by 1. Then resolve on the mend. So essentially, if it's already on the mend, it's healed. Otherwise, mark it as on the mend.
Okay.
And then I believe you had the bone setter ability, didn't you?
Yes, yeah.
So that means that after doing a surgery, you may choose something that's on the mend and heal it.
Cool. So I've basically stitched this up as best as possible. Yeah.
So when a major injury is healed, which missing hand is, it stops being a condition and starts being a trait. So you basically move it over to trait. You do have a missing hand. You will always have a missing hand unless you undergo something miraculous. But it's no longer sort of giving you minuses to like other stuff and making stuff harder to heal and all of that sort of stuff. It's been bound and treated, basically.
Which hand is it, Jerry?
Oh, that's true.
Oh.
I mimed my right hand, so I'm going to go with that.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, and I believe that's everyone's actions.
Yeah.
So we are in the end of round and retreat portion of the round. I think so. The Operi is retreating.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does have one dangerous opponent within short distance of it. The one it just barreled through. So I guess you can just let it go if you're, or you can punish it as it flees.
I think so. I in my head just there, I was like, as a person, I'd let it go because this thing is terrifying. But I do have the witch costs. So panic, the traitor god gave me powers, but it comes at a cost. And panic's cost is you have to let the brave burn and let the cowards flee. So you have to spread panic, and that is the cost of getting these powers. So I think I'm going to have to try to burn the brave.
Well, it's definitely not being brave at the moment. It is not.
It's not being brave at the minute, but it is a giant, terrifying monster, and seeing this thing on fire would spread panic. So I'm self-imposing this.
I'm going to count you as a dangerous opponent. So it is going to try and run away. It manages to. It gets a withdraw. So it escapes with grace and speed.
I hope Panic knows that I tried.
Hiding itself in the tower. I think whilst it's not retreating, the mist shape is definitely focused on that Operi. So unless you are basically planning on moving on up and getting involved in that, then we can cut out of combat and go back into sort of normal mode.
No, I'm definitely not starting anything new. My plan would be to join the others. Yeah.
Bellows will drag Skeever to his feet and offer him like an arm or a shoulder to sort of carry him a little bit, and sort of start making his way down the stairs with him on his shoulder.
I will follow closely behind on the stairs.
Bello shouts exceptionally loudly because he can't hear. He just says, "Did you get rid of it?"
I'm going to shout back, I guess. It's still up there, but it's a bit busy. And I'm going to try to mime a giant cloud owl.
Can you give me a miming a giant cloud owl?
With one arm as well.
So I think with that, you were able to make your way down the stairs, seeing the destruction of 3 out of 4 of the bells around you. The final one still as the grave. You hear the sounds of screeches of fighting between Batcat and Mist Owl above, praying that their fight lasts at least long enough to escape your attention, or for you to escape their attention, indeed. You are able to make your way out of the bell tower, away back through the forest, making sure to avoid the pits that you found earlier, deep into the realms of, well, safety might be over-egging it somewhat, but certainly away from the great danger of the ancient bell tower. You have successfully destroyed one of the 7 totems of the Lice Mother, bringing them one step closer to the grave, and with her, Father Plague. Thank you so much for playing, guys.
Thank you very much for running it, man.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. I made great pains to pick up that spade before we leave.
Oh,
we need one spade between the 3 of us.
Yeah. So, I'm sort of, well, I'm down a hand, you're down an arm.
I can't hear anything.
Great,
so
for pushing on.
To be fair, Scratcher started without an arm.
Yeah,
that's true.
They're doing fine as compared to how they started.
I got off really lightly considering I tried to face down an Opiri. I fully expected to not make it through that.
When we get back to the guild, I'm going to get somebody to fashion instead of a hook for a hand, just a tiny little spade, maybe like a tiny little trowelly type thing.
A trowel hand.
For your hand.
I can continue with. It's been a lot of fun. It's really nice to see how the game plays out. And hopefully people at home have got a better idea of how Doomsong works as well. If you haven't already, you should be able to go and check out an interview I did with Morgan, Jack, and Chris all about Doomsong, where it came from and the mechanics behind it. And you can already download the demo copy as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them below and we'll pass them across to the team. Till next time.
I'm sure we'll be diving in there ourselves as well. But, thank you so much for having us.
It was amazing.
Awesome.
Absolute blast.
Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed this Let's Play. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.